Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. And in today's video, we are going to talk about prepping and a little bit of finances. Um, Got to get this a little bit out of the way. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know your own personal financial situation, but the information I'm giving you, treat it as such. It's information. It's my thoughts and ideas that can um, educate you a little bit and maybe help get you closer to making that decision on your own. And specifically within um, the finance side of what I'm going to talk about is using credit cards or loans for prepping. And there are good reasons why you should do it, there are bad reasons, um, pros, cons. The simple answer for myself, I really don't like to spend money that I don't personally have, but some things we need to do that for. Most people can't outright buy a house or a car or, you know, furniture or just different things like that. There's a very long list of things that are bought on credit or with a loan and that come with a payment and some sort of interest rate that if we didn't have those things in place, then a lot of people would go without certain things. So that being said, um, what are the things that I think are okay to use debt on when it comes to prepping? What are things that I don't think are okay? Maybe your situation is a little different than mine. But I have started doing the math, the calculations on putting solar on the roof. I don't expect to get solar put on the roof in the next year, maybe not even the next 2 years, but hopefully right around 26, 27 for me. Um, I'll have some sort of down payment, the credit score will be a little bit higher, and I'd like to put in solar. The packages I'm specifically looking at for solar companies in my area, they offer completely off the grid. So you have no ties to, you know, your electric grid. So they would put in, the panels that you need and the battery banks that you need. You can put in strictly on the grid. The way that works is, say you use 1,000 kilowatt hours, your panels produce 800, you still have an electric bill, but you're only getting 200 kilowatts from the grid and you pay that accordingly. And then the third way is you stay attached to the grid, you put in your solar, but we also put in batteries. And they have different packages, and it ranges from, for a couple of hours in case of just, a minor power outage, all the way up to, as if you were off grid. And essentially, the way that would work is um, your batteries get, topped off, and then you're getting direct current from your solar panels during the day. Your batteries are used at night, and maybe you've got a really hot summer, your stuff can't keep up with it, and you configure it to where you don't want your batteries to go below, let's say, 50% or 70%. Then you'd get power from the grid, and it would work that way. And then in some instances, you can put power back into the grid and get credit on an electric bill or some sort of payout. But that is a big ticket item that, the estimated cost on the cheap end was about 10,000, on the high end was 18 or 19,000. And even in 5 years, I don't think I would have 20,000 saved up to just outright pay for that. Most instances, you put, 5 to 10% down and you make a monthly payment on it. And that is one of those items that I would say perfectly acceptable to put on credit or get a loan. Other items is, purchasing bug out land, a off grid cabin. That is, what I would consider acceptable. Mostly the stuff that you couldn't just pay outright. I don't think a prepper should be, buying $500 worth of rice and beans on, their Chase credit card. Unless you are using $500 that you have in your physical pocket and you use your credit card, you wait a few days and you pay it off. You could be building your credit score, and that's perfectly acceptable for using, credit or, a loan in that situation. Um, in most cases, I think you should have, at the low end, $1,000, and on the high end, 1 month of your expenses. This could benefit you in a very, what I consider a minor prepping incident of a hospital visit, um, a vet bill, a transmission issue with your car. Any of those things, um, having your emergency rainy day fund would benefit you a lot more than having to throw it on a credit card. But have the credit card that you make your payments on time, you pay it off, and say you've got a credit card with a $2,000 limit. If you don't want to kick into your rainy day fund, then you've established another way that you can, make those emergency payments. Other things for credit that I would consider a positive, I briefly mentioned using your credit card to buy your everyday prepping stuff, rice, beans, bullets, sleeping bags, but only using it if you had already planned on purchasing it. So it's time to go pick up 3 more magazines for a gun, and you are going to spend your $50, $60 on them. You've got the cash or it's in your bank account. You go ahead and use your credit card, wait for the transaction to pop up and pay it off before the end of the month. Building your credit is a good thing because it'll get you lower interest rates on bigger ticket prepping items in the future. The cons for why I don't think you should do this is you could get yourself in a financial situation where you've got maxed out credit cards and you go through that job loss, that medical emergency, a car issue, and you've spent all this money on food and other prepping supplies, and now you can't use that credit card for actual emergencies, and you could get behind on the payments. And these interest rates on cards are insanely high. So if you're not paying it off every month, then they are making a lot more money off of you. Outside of that, when it comes to having the credit, I mentioned having $1,000 in some sort of savings up to a month worth of your total expenses. If you are worried about using credit, whether you should or you shouldn't, then you should take a deeper look into your finances. And what I mean by that is save every single receipt, every single transaction from a 2-week period from your day-to-day, stuff. Your grocery bill, your gas bill, your electric, your rent, mortgage, going out to eat with friends, all of it. And once you write down that number, if it's higher than what you're bringing in, then you're probably already using credit, and that's no good. If it's lower, then you can set up a budget that if you're tracking it and keeping up with it, then you're less likely to, you know, pick up that extra, sugary beverage or donuts at the store because you have the money in your pocket. You know, hey, I spend $130 a week on groceries. I don't need to spend any more because I'm getting all the food I need. And at the end of the month, that leftover money goes into your savings and turns into your $1,000. Or that leftover money, say it's $50, $80, $100, you go, I did everything I needed to do, and now I've got $80. Now you go spend that money on prepping supplies. Other than that, um, I don't see a right or wrong answer for using credit because, you know, with the way things are going these days, what I've been talking about in my news videos, what you see that I probably don't see, everyone's situation's different. If you yourself make the decision that I need to go buy a year's worth of Mountain House food, I got a personal loan for it, and this is what's going to make me feel comfortable, make me feel like I'm taking care of my family, then by all means do that. I personally am not going to take out a loan for Mountain House food, and as a prepper that preps on a budget, I wouldn't recommend that you do that. But I can't make these decisions for you. Some people could have $1,000 to put into prepping each month. Some people could only have $30 to put into prepping each month. And with that being said, if you are worried about, whether you should use credit for prepping or not, check out my video on food pantries. Check out my video on 10 items for $10 at the dollar store. I'll put a link in the description down below to those videos. And with that, if you found this information useful, then like and subscribe. If you have a friend or family member that benefit from what we talked about in today's video, then share the video with them. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.